Hey everybody, I'm here with the wonderful, amazing, and as I said when we were chatting before this, the hot broad of the moment, Danielle LaPorte, and we're going to be talking about her fabulous new book, which of course I know you all have bought. It really is digital shamanism, which I've been hearing people say. I love that. We're going to be talking specifically today about how do you get the kind of collaborative support that you need, mastermind groups, soul tribes, to further your great work, to do what you're here to do. We're going to be giving away 5 copies of the Firestarter and 1 chance to come to the mastermind course for free. So make sure you look below the video for the details. In the chapter about comrades, cheerleaders, soul sisters, united team tribe, I love your words, is you talk about who's on your bus, who are you co-creating with? One of the questions that's coming up with people that are signing up for this course is, how do I find the right people for my bus?
I think you know right away, don't you? You know who you love. Yeah. And you shouldn't have to force it. My prerequisites are, I want to hang out with people that I would have to my house for dinner and I would cook for them, which is major because I don't really cook.
And it's so major for me.
I'm going to put oil in a pan. And that I would vacation with, or at least want to have a margarita with on an island. And I used to think I was being really sucky about that. How dare I be so selective or so light or so laissez-faire about it, or so just about love and not about the bottom line. And I can now tell you in full integrity, there isn't anybody that I collaborate with or work with who I wouldn't stay up till late at night by a fire talking to, who I wouldn't walk on coals for, who I wouldn't give them the shirt off. I love them. Everybody's a friend.
Yeah. And that, and what I want to say to people who are listening or who are in the course or thinking about taking the course is that, you may not have that same criteria, but there is something in what Danielle just said that is so important, and it's the truth all the way through you. That truth of I respect you, and I am comfortable supporting you and being a stand for you in the world. And I think that is so true of our brain trust. And I know every time I don't honor that, I get into so much trouble.
Well, every time when you hang with someone you don't respect?
Or I support people that I don't respect. Or I champion their work. And I really want to point that out to people, because when you're thinking about who to invite into your group, or when you get an invitation, if that's not there on a soul level for you, you got to say no.
You gotta say no. And I've had that feeling, that oopsie feeling too, where I was like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have recommended that book.
Oh God!
If anybody listening, if we can save you from that ick, that profound ick, let us be your salvation now. Don't do it. Don't hustle stuff you don't totally believe in, because not only do you get the profound ick, but if you do enough of that, people aren't going to believe what you say.
Right.
But Jen, I think you bring up a great point about, you don't have to have that criteria that I have about wanting to party with everybody.
And it's a great criteria, but for some people, they're going to be looking for a group or a support that might be more about business, or might be shorter term.
I have learned, well, I'll tell you a story. I was working with, I just say a service provider now, so no one's incriminating. And I used to think that in order to be an evolved, enlightened, really robust entrepreneur, that I needed to work with people who saw the world differently than I did. And that also proved to be completely the wrong direction for me. So what I got was, I really want to work with people who see the world the same way I do, but they have completely different skill sets. So, I love to work with people who are very conservative. Sometimes, conservative, low-risk folks going to drive me crazy. Wow, completely value what they have to say. Make me smarter, brighter, sharper, and all that. So I love the diversity you get, but after you have that resonance in place, you got to resonate. After that, it's a free for all of perspectives.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. I'm thinking about, I was in a women's group. We met once a week for 7 years when I lived in Santa Barbara. You know, this is when my daughter was a baby through. So this was a busy time, was when I was publishing a lot of books. And we were not people who would have necessarily ever been attracted to be friends with each other. But we had the same deep values and integrity. And we learned so much from each other's different perspectives. You know, different ages, different occupations, different ways of seeing the world. But there was a core similarity. So that's really a theme, I think, for people to look for. I had a tooth pulled today, and I'm feeling like I'm like have a lisp. Somebody's feeling. So if I'm lisping, everybody, I really hope
you sound great.
You have a group, an informal group you're part of, Chris Carr and Marie Forleo. And I'd love it if you could take us in there a little bit. Like, what's it like? How often do you meet? And what kind of support do you give? Because you're 3 very powerful, very successful women. How do you handle that level of power together?
It's a pajama party. It's like at least once a year in person. It's turning into twice a year. Mm-hmm. We've all curled up on my bed in a hotel room for 12 hours.
Wow.
And just ordered room service. We've hung out at Marie's like lovely beach house in Sag Harbor. We're just planning our next, we call them, I don't know if I get in trouble for telling you this, we call them coven meetings, so we refer to each other as bitches and witches. Like, yo, bitch, I mean witch. And we're ravenous with each other. We're just like, tell me everything. Mm-hmm. I want to know how you do it, who's and how much, and the when, and who does what, and like we're just so proud of each other and so respectful of each other. We're in awe. Right. And it also, I think it really works out because we all are doing the same thing, but it's different content.
Right.
So there's no competition. It's only sharesy. And we hustle each other all the time because we just so believe in what we're bringing to the world. Mm-hmm. Anything goes. And when we meet, there's no agenda. I mean, we've got notes of like, hey, I really want to ask you about that. But sometimes, I mean, we watch movies, we talk about our men, talk about babies, no babies, we cry. Chris makes bacon mac and cheese, which is really good. Except it could use some cheese.
Don't tell her that.
And we leave with copious notes. And we tell each other what to do. And we're all so strong in our individuality that it's a given. I'm going to do what I feel is best at the end of the day. But we just talk to each other like mothers, like, this is what you should do. And there's like calling bullshit and like, you're being a suck about that. You need to suck it up. Okay, I'll suck it up. And we give each other permission. And
did that happen really naturally just because it was like, we see each other, you're a soulmate? Or did it take a while to get that level of intimacy? Because I know to us in our brain trust, that is like a key factor. And, I wonder about how to help people get there.
How to help people get there? Well, I can say 2 things about that. One is it was immediate. So it was love at first sight. But something helpful, I hope, for how to get there is we did all feel a little shy.
Yes.
It is kind of like the first date where you want to say at the end of the date, you're like, I really like you.
Yeah, do you really like me?
Do you want to go out again? And then it's like, yes, I really like you too. And call me. And then you put each other on speed dial. This is another important thing to that brain trust is we keep in regular touch.
Yes. And
we do it not just on email, we Skype, we text, we voicemail, we call each other, we send flowers. And it's not just business, it's personal. Yeah. Couldn't do it without them and my other girlfriends. Like I have other trusts, I have other groups.
Right, you have a group in Vancouver that you meet with about once a month, right?
I'm meeting with them tonight. It's my goddess group. It sounds very similar to your group in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a great example of, there's 5 of us. We've been meeting once a month for almost 4 years now. We have gone through divorces and bankruptcies and all of it. One of us now lives in Kenya. And we will patch her, and she's getting up at 5:15 in the morning. So this is another thing. You really do whatever it takes to meet with your group.
Right.
Getting up at 5:15 on Skype, and you know, sometimes we're all cranky, and one of us is coming late tonight, whatever. There has to be food involved, but incredibly diverse. And how that happened was, hey, we all know cool women. Let's just have a potluck of cool women and see who shows up.
Right.
And it was a stormy night, and some people couldn't make the drive, and only 5 of us showed up. And it was another one of those love things. You know, a sign of knowing that the group is right for you is, and I'm sure you feel this with your group, is like you so look forward to your meetings.
Right.
It's like, it's food. It's so nurturing, and sometimes you show up because you just got to tell everybody what's going on and you need their advice. And sometimes, it's the delight of just listening to what's going on for everybody else.
So that brings up a question about giving and receiving. You know, many of us are good at one thing more than the other, and women often are much better at giving than receiving. What has being in these groups taught you about giving and receiving?
You can't push people. Yeah, you can tell your girlfriend to dump the chump every damn month. Or you can tell your business friend to let go of that product or to shut the business down. And people will hear you when they're ready to hear you. And guess what? You're not always right. You may think you know exactly what's right for them, and just, I've learned 2 things. You show up with your counsel and your insight, and then you be completely detached about it. Like, I'm really going to share with you what's there. You're going to take it or leave it. And I'm not going to be attached to being right, because that guy may be the love of your life. And that business idea may be the biggest thing you've ever launched.
Why are you relying on each other, and what are you relying on each other for? Can you talk just a little bit more about that, especially in finding some kind of group support? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you have to be clear about your intentions. And so here, you know, we could come up with a list, the shitty reasons to get a group, to be in a group.
I love it.
And they are like, it's all about you getting. It's about networking. I've done this. Again, this is a big ick. I don't do it anymore. It's changed my life. I want to get in that group because she knows someone who is a producer at Oprah. Ooh. It's expedient. Forget it. I want to get in that group because he's got funding, potentially. No. Those are business transactions. Those are things you do outside of the group to grow your business. You pick up the phone, you make the call. You have to be in a group to be generous and to be vulnerable. I mean, isn't that the key thing?
It's the key. It is the key. It just keeps coming up over and over. And I remember when our Brain Trust started, and I sent out the emails. I started the group, and then other people suggested other people, and Molly Gordon suggested Michael Bungay Stanier. And he sent out an email and said, okay, let's open the kimonos. How much does everybody make? I make X. And I was like, I love you already, right? And every moment that we've gone deeper in the 6 years or whatever, and we meet virtually all year round and once in person, is when one of us is willing to be vulnerable, is willing, whether that means calling somebody else on their stuff, or whether it means, you know, showing up with our own stuff.
Yeah, and we know vulnerability takes risk, but I think the sooner you risk it with your group, the better. Like, that's just brilliant. Michael just showing up with that. Woo! I love it. I think the best way you can contribute to your group is to always be on the lookout for what's the easiest thing for your fellow group people to do. Like I want to know, how can I save you time? How can I save you money? How can we get that out? What can you do that's going to make you the most money the fastest? And yes, you're always talking about the deep integrity stuff, like what's going to light you up, and is this really in line with your soul and all that. But one of my great moments in a group was hanging out with Chris and Marie, and I was toiling over my calendar. And this is how practical we get. Like, hey, get the calendars. What's coming when are you going to launch this? We need to,
Absolutely.
Got a nitty gritty, right? And I said, well, my next book proposal for this, and I'm going to write here. And I wanted to get it in here, but I think it's going to take me 3 months. And Chris Carr was like, excuse me, you don't write book proposals anymore. I was like, what? What? She's like, You're never, I was like, oh my God, this is what I wanted in my career, is to get to that point where you've proven yourself with your publisher and you have a relationship, and you just say, hey, here's one page on my next book. Like, do you want it? And wow, that changed
3 months.
That changed my career.
Yeah. Just reflecting over and over again on how easy it is for me, not making a pun there, I hope, to overlook what's easy for me to give the world.
It's not, serve, savor, ease, hard. It's like hard to see what you're easy at sometimes. Right. That is, I think, one of the single, like, what's the word? I don't know, potent, clear. It's the best reason to have a mastermind group, because the people around you will see that. They go, oh, you don't do that. You do that. You go, right. I get those notes. Right. I forgot.
Right. And why are you doing that? And that's the thing that comes up a lot in our group. You're doing that thing again. You're doing that thing. Maybe you should, and each time we stop a little sooner. It might only be a millisecond sooner.
Yes, yes. You've got that money twitch again. That thing you keep saying about money, you just said it again. And you go, oh, right, family of origin. Sorry. Right. My past is in my future.
Yeah. So we were talking about things that would be sucky in a group. What would be things that would be great in a group? What would you look for?
Great things in a group. You leave feeling yourself. Is this what you're...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You leave feeling more like yourself, but you also have some, sorry to use the word, actionables. Like, you're going to do something. You're going to...
It's not all sweetness and light.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, got to make that phone call. Right. Got to phase that out. Going to do this. Hey, you set a date to launch something. And I'm just going to slip back to the sucky for just a minute.
You can go back and forth. Good, sucky.
I don't think a group is about therapy either. So especially in a business context, like, this is not always the place to, like, air. Sometimes you got to work your problems out elsewhere and just come, and it's about, groups have to be about facing forward. Right. We're here to move you forward. We're not here to, like, look at how you got wounded. We're just going to give you crutches and get you on your way.
Yes. I just have to say, whoa, that is so important. And so important for you, everybody listening, to find a way to make that part of the group. And we'll talk about that in the course. But we have a phrase, and we change phrases. Right now it's, I smell a wombat. Michael's from Australia. So, it's like, I smell you doing your thing, and I don't want to go there with you because we've been there already. We do not need to go back again. We need to go forward.
Oh, you guys are hardcore. Like, I'm not supporting your loser habits. Right. And also, the other side of that is you want to respect everybody else's time. Yeah. And I think you gotta, like, clean up and show up and, like, be vulnerable, but, like, get a therapist,
Right. Don't be vulnerable for the sake of, let me go there again and show you how wounded I am. Yeah. All right, so we got sucky, we got some more great things.
Oh, more great things. Other great things that can happen in a group. Oh, just being witnessed. The power, this is more the dynamic with my goddess group, is we really just listen to each other. And we say, okay, who's checking in? And we go around, whoever's moved. There's not a lot of advice giving, like, it happens, but we're not there for advice. We're really there to be witnessed. And I really did not get the power of that until this group.
Yeah,
just being heard and just listening.
It's so healing.
It's so healing. And you know, I think we've all had that experience where you just, I mean, we had it like in Santa Fe when we did our Gail Larson workshop, you and I. Of just, you see the loving nods. Mm-hmm. And you know that understanding is happening and love is being beamed out. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what you need that day.
What would you say is the one thing that you would love people looking for and creating a group or recreating a group to keep in mind?
First of all, that it's essential. You have to have a group. You have to have a group. This is the age of relationship. Mm-hmm. You will not get anywhere fabulous without that group. Yeah. Not only can you not do it alone, I would bet your soul that you do not want to do it alone. Go forth and mate. Essential, critical, and do it before crisis hits.
Oh yes, that was a great point in the book. I so wanted to ask you about that, and here, let's see if I can show the page to everybody. I think it's nice, big type. You have to buy the book because even if you are an e-book person, forget about it because you have to have the physical, beautiful book. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, create your support system before crisis comes.
What does that mean? Say more.
Well, it means that when the hooey hits the fan and the bank is calling you and you're not sure who to hire mm-hmm. and all of that, then like you're going to be frantic. You're desperate for help. And it's kind of a turnoff, right. For one. It's just uncomfortable for everybody. And you want to build it, so you want to have that group in place so that when the oil slicks happen, you can navigate. You got the support. But also, like, let's go back to the root of all of this, which is you're in a group as much to serve as you are to be served.
Right, to take, yeah.
And you will learn so much about yourself and your strength by serving other people. Mm-hmm. You're going to guarantee you will give someone an idea in your group or just say one loving line. Mm-hmm. And that will be their $10,000 idea. Mm-hmm. That will precipitate a breakthrough that leads to something amazing. And you'll be like, wow, I'm in sync with the universe. I'm bright. I'm wise. I have something to offer. And that will flow into the work that you're doing for yourself.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. So right on. Yay. Yay.